Start. Hello, and good evening, everybody, to Geoengineering Free Canada tonight. We have a very, very special guest tonight. His name is Justin Smith, and something completely different. Storm chaser. What is a storm chaser? And here we are. So welcome to Geoengineering Free Canada tonight, Justin. Kindly.
Hi.
Hi, Justin, tell us a little bit about you. Tell us a little bit about what made you become a storm chaser and what is a storm chaser?
Okay. I am 35. I am from Bowling Green, Kentucky. I have two children, one of them fresh, one of them is trying to get in front of the camera right now. Um, what got me started, I was always interested in weather, but what really got me started in chasing was December 10th, 2021, which was the date of the Mayfield tornado. I'm sure everybody's familiar with that. Um, and we also got a tornado. Well, technically, we got three here in Bowling Green that night. Um, and I had hopped in my truck. No, leave it alone. I had hopped in my truck to follow it into Bowling Green because I live a little west. And we had just had our daughter 2 weeks before that, which is my issue right now. Um, we just had her 2 weeks before that, and my wife literally yanked me out of my truck. She wasn't about to let me go anywhere. Um, but then, but then, I think 17 people ended up dying in Bowling Green that night, and I felt a lot of guilt after that. Because I felt like if I'd followed it into town like I planned to, I may have got those people a little more warning, and they may have survived. But Um, I told her after that from then on I was going to start actually chasing storms. And what it was 4 years later, here I am.
So what does that mean, chasing a storm? So you follow the storm? Are you getting into the storm? And what do you need to understand a storm? Or what is a storm to you? So what do you do? Do you watch the forecast? What how does that work?
Well, the Storm Prediction Center issues what are called convective outlooks. Wait, okay, you said hi. Thank you. They issue what are called convective outlooks, um, up to 7 days ahead of time. But really, it's you can't pay attention to anything further than 3 days out. But they will issue an outlook saying the ingredients will be here in this region for severe thunderstorms on this day. So that's mainly what I watch. I haven't gotten heavy into the forecasting bit of it because that's very complicated and beyond my pay grade, I guess you'd say. Uh, so I go off whenever my region has the potential for severe thunderstorms, then I will look at the forecast ahead of time, figure out a target that I want to be at, and then I'll go ahead of time. Most of the time, I just chase local because I have a 2002 GMC Sierra, and it's not great for storm chasing. It sucks gas. So I mainly just cover my region in this area. Occasionally, I will drive out to certain points if the forecast warrants it. And here lately, this past summer, I discovered a place west of here. It's a 1,000 foot high rock that I can climb up, and I can see 30 miles in every direction. So here lately, what I do is I just go out there and I watch storms roll in. And then if it's worth it past that point, I'll follow them. I'll try to, keep up with them, but that proves more challenging than one would think.
Mhm. So you follow them. Are you getting into the storm then as well, into the eye? Or so is that okay? So when you look at the picture that I picked here, so to introduce you, so this is obviously our tornado, right? So it circulates. So
Hmm.
okay, so are you following that storm how when it's moving to a certain direction, or are you getting into the storm directly? And what do you do with this then? Are you collecting data, or what does it do?
Well, you try to follow along with it if the road network and storm propagation allows. Um, I do not get into tornadoes. You have to have very specific equipment for that. The rock I mentioned a second ago, it was back, I think it was April. Um, I was watching a storm approach me from there, from Paducah, and it had been tornado warned since Paducah. And the warning had dropped right before it got to me, but I was watching it come at me and I knew it was about to put another one down. So I got out of there.
Hmm.
And then it ended up putting down a new tornado basically on top of where I was. And I paralleled it. I was just south of it. I paralleled it uh, 40, 50 miles to Bowling Green, maybe a little further. And it ended up being the London Somerset tornado. I think it got an EF4. Did a lot of damage, killed a few people. Um, so yeah, I don't try to get into it, but I observe from a distance
Hmm. Okay, so you observe the this tornado. Do you collect any?
and relay warnings to the National Weather Service if I see anything worth warning.
Oh, okay, so you do collect some data, or and then you submit them, I don't know, report them, or how does that work?
They part of what's known as Skywarn. It is a training program for storm spotters that teaches you the characteristics of thunderstorms. So whenever a thunderstorm gets severe, it takes on particular characteristics that you can identify. Like there's a what's known as a wall cloud. Everybody knows a funnel cloud. Those kinds of things. You look out for those, and if you see those, if you see anything that warrants reporting to the National Weather Service, then you have your regional office that you report to.
Okay. Do you need specific equipment to do that, or are you just driving? You mentioned you've got a truck, and is there anything that, I don't know, collects other data too, or what do you do?
Well, you can have like an anemometer. That's really about the only equipment you can use mobily. Um, which I've been meaning to get one of those for a little while. That just measures wind speed, and you can get some that measure temperature and dew point and things like that. So I don't collect data hard points per se. It's more like just visual data that you can relay to the National Weather Service. And then if they feel that your report warrants a warning, then they issue that.
Hmm. Okay. So you are connected to the official, I don't know, weather stations or something like that too?
National Weather Service.
That's,
My office that I report to, my region is Louisville,
oh, okay.
but I'm right on the edge, excuse me, of Louisville and Paducah. Paducah has a National Weather Service also. So
Okay.
depending on where I am, I'll report it to Paducah or Louisville.
Hmm. Okay. And what do they do then when you report this particular storm? So do they get into it, or how what do they do?
They mainly just observe radar.
Okay.
And if they, what storm spotters or chasers are for is mainly what's known as ground truth. They can observe radar from national weather stations, um, but radar can only do so much because the way radar works, it shoots a beam up into the sky, and then it sends back an echo return to the weather station. It's kind of like sonar in a way, and they can use the Doppler effect to determine the direction of wind. So there's all kinds of products that you can get into when it comes to radar. Velocity is the probably the most important one when it comes to severe thunderstorms. And they can use those radar products to determine direction of wind using the Doppler effect. So if they observe what's known as a couplet, which is winds going different directions on the radar and meeting at a particular point, they know that that's wind circulating.
Hmm.
And then if they get a report from a spotter near that area that says, hey, I saw a funnel cloud, I saw a tornado touching down, I saw a wall cloud, they have a much better idea of the general what's going on with the storm.
Hmm. Okay. So, and are you a group of people then? And or is it just you in your area, or is there, I don't know, a few more people helping you out? Hopefully.
Uh, I started out on my own, and then there was I think there's 5 or 6 people in the group now. We started a weather group called Zero Meter Chasers, and it consists of me and 3 other chasers, and then a couple meteorologists or ex-meteorologists. And we started our own kind of like little platform doing regional chasing and weather information, for people in the area because I don't want to say the National Weather Service has been slacking at their job, but mm, there's been some storms I've observed that well, to put it this way, the very first tornado I ever caught was a real quick spin up, and it never even got confirmed by the National Weather Service. So I
Okay.
don't I don't want to say they're slacking.
So, okay.
Maybe it's all those government comebacks. I don't know.
Well, don't get me started on government. Well, that sounds really, really interesting. So I noticed that there is our meteorologist, Jeff, on the call. So you
Ah, Jeff's here.
might, yeah, Jeff is here. And
Hello.
hey, Jeff, how are
Hello,
you
sir.
How you doing, Justin? Hi,
I'm
Bettina.
all right.
doing? Hi. So I,
Wonderful. Uh,
oh, go ahead. Sorry, Jeff.
uh, it's cool to actually hear a storm chaser. I mean, I watch Reed Timmer and his Dominator and stuff like that, the videos on him, but I've never heard firsthand from somebody.
Yeah, he's something else. You normally hear him just yelling at the tornado, so
So, but Justin, you know, you must know a lot about weather then too, right? You must understand ice supersaturated regions, which is our favorite for geoengineering, and anything else that is cloud related and certainly weather. So I'm pretty sure that you do know a lot about this too, right?
I'd like to think I know quite a bit. But when it comes to actual meteorology, that involves a lot of math that people don't realize, like a lot of math, a lot of calculus. When it
Okay.
comes to that part, no, I'm oblivious. But when it comes to clouds, cloud types, the way that severe thunderstorms work, which involves a lot of fluid dynamics. like that kind of thing, yeah, I'm pretty familiar with.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Jeff, I'm pretty sure you can have a really good conversation right now. Go ahead.
Uh, uh, when I went to weather school way back in the Navy in the day, we didn't concentrate too much on the severe weather aspect. You
Mm.
know, it's uh, skew T, radius on stuff, of course.
Broad scale synoptic stuff.
Yeah, but
Mm.
I couldn't read the cloud to see where that inflow is, like Reed can, like he shows on some of his videos. He's pointing to the areas where it's happening and all that. I'm not that intimately familiar with it
It
because
gets
I
a
never
lot
have.
easier
I
the
was
more you do
never.
it.
Yeah, you can.
The inflow updraft region, and then you can see where it's the air's getting thrown up into the atmosphere and then slammed back down by the rear flank downdraft, all that stuff. It comes with the territory. The more you do it, the better you learn it.
Yeah, I was in California, so that was my duty stations were both in California. We had no tornadoes too,
Oh yeah,
so I didn't have to
maybe
learn
an
it.
occasional fire NATO.
Uh, yeah, we got
So,
our bad fires out here, that's for sure.
Th- Those are super interesting. Um, yeah, fire NATOs and like the effects off of volcanoes. I'm fascinated by all that kind of stuff.
hmm Wow. So again, yeah, you need to know a lot about clouds, obviously. And so, well, Jeff, he did a really good um, thing about Milton and what was the other name? Helene.
Helene,
Helene. Yeah, so he did a great kind of investigation about what was going on, and I do remember when these two, everybody is now talking geoengineering. So there, it's a hot topic. Everybody is now knows everything about it and does not, and so, as we all know. But so there was a discussion about HARP and Nextword are steering the hurricanes. What's your thought on that?
mine or Jeff's?
Right. Okay. So
Me
there's
or Jeff?
you, Justin.
Me. Like I said, there's a lot of disinformation out there. I always tell everybody there is misinformation, disinformation, and then the truth somewhere in there.
Mm,
Um, I know, I think it was Project Storm Fury, maybe back in the 50s when the hurricane hunters first got started, where they seeded adjacent air masses with silver iodide and they were able to somewhat steer hurricanes that way. But next rad radars, no, they're not going to be steering anything. They're just there to collect echoes.
mhm. Yeah, yeah. And neither does HARP. HARP is not a thing there too, right?
No, no. And HARP deals mainly with the ionosphere.
Exactly.
Um, it has potential to have some effects down in the troposphere, but nowhere near like being able to steer a hurricane. Nothing like that.
Yeah, yeah.
From my understanding, anyway.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's how I understand that too. It's not strong enough to steer anything. It's just the frequencies and the radiation that goes up
Hmm.
into the ionosphere. And the thing is that most of the time people don't even know the difference between where we live in the troposphere, then there's the stratosphere, and then there is the ionosphere way up high there. So you were talking about thousands and thousands and thousands of kilometers, and so it has to go through, and then obviously there was a reason why they do this in the ionosphere. So that's a completely different ball game. It's a completely different thing. That's what's going on up there. Jeff, um, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that the ionospheric steering via atmospheric heaters is absolutely insanely ridiculous in my opinion. It's like, yeah, we're gonna shoot a beam directly up and make it turn to where we want it to get down to whatever through different mediums. I mean, if you look at the different soundings on the Radioson data across the country, it's like how would you know where that beam is to where you could steer it? Is there a laser on it illuminating where it is, where it's pointing or something like that? It's like, yeah, right. Nobody can calculate that. No supercomputer could, and it doesn't have enough power to do anything anyway. So on top of that, we know when iSCAT's on. I mean, they publish their schedule. They publish minute by minute statistics of power being used and which of the different uh, VLF, UHF, or the ionospheric heaters on. It's transparent as can be, other than the fact
Plus,
that it's
what's the
ridiculous.
point?
Yes.
That's
What
the main thing for me is what is the point?
we just want to do random destruction? What?
Right, yeah.
Uh,
In the
not
case of
no.
Helene, that was just extreme saturation combining with orographic lift
Yes.
on top of Black Mountain, and it just dumped all of that saturation that it had evaporated up into the atmosphere.
Mhm.
You're from, did you say Kentucky? You said Paducah. Is that Kentucky?
But
So you were,
I'm about an hour north of Nashville,
okay, so boy,
so
that was close
I'm
to home
east
for
of
you.
somewhat. Yeah, I was watching whenever Helene hit. I mean, we were getting quite a bit of rain too, but I remember looking at the water table data from USGS and just being like, oh, just being like, oh my Lord, like the depth of the water just skyrocketed. It was crazy watching that happen in real time.
I
Hey,
was watching, oh, sorry.
no, sorry, go ahead, Jeff. I was just looking at her and I wanted to say that she is now in Canada.
Daddy's on a
I was
call.
watching, I was watching both Helene and Milton live in both cases as they made landfall. So I was
Uh-huh.
concentrating on the anemometers at all the airports
Mm.
and, pinpointing exactly where that eye was and monitoring both of them for the wind speeds. And neither of them at landfall had a single Cat 1 speed at any airport.
Mm.
And they were saying Cat 3s and 4s. It's like, you
Mm.
guys, I mean, as a forecaster, you always, if there's a chance of rain, you're going to say there's a chance of rain. You might one up it a little bit. You add 5 miles per hour to the forecast, 10 miles per hour, just to cover your ass, just in case you're wrong on the looking at the charts and stuff like that. So
Is that
upscaling a little
only
bit.
like airport TDWRs?
Pardon me?
I said, are you only talking about like airport TDWRs?
CDWRs? What's that?
TDWRs, like Terminal Doppler Weather Station, weather radio, or I can't remember what it stands for. It's the radars. Oh yeah, Terminal Doppler Weather Radar, the ones that they put at airports.
No, I just pay attention to that little white box with louvers, the equipment in that at every airport.
I got you.
So,
Okay.
it, if you have a line of airports that it's passing near, you would think you would get one Cat 3 wind at one of them, especially when it passes close. Same thing
Hmm.
happened with the one that went through Cuba and Jamaica recently. Those
Right. Yeah.
they shut those off prior
Yeah.
to the
That's it.
observations turned off. It's like, that's ridiculous. Three
Yeah. It's
stations, the
super
closest to them. It's like,
super weird.
what's with that?
Mm.
And what about these, was it Helene or Milton? I can't remember which one, but didn't it hit a lithium, um, I don't know, mine or a lithium kind
Yeah, there was a theory going around about that they had steered Helene and parked it over North Carolina because of the lithium mines that they wanted access to, so their people wouldn't sell their land or something like that.
And any logic to that to you?
Yeah,
No, I
no,
concur.
yeah, that solely a case of orographic lift and super saturated atmosphere.
Yep, because they had a series of storms prior to it arriving. So
Hmm.
this, like you said, the soil was already
Yeah,
saturated. Yep.
yeah. Ground was already saturated. Atmosphere was super saturated. It hit that mountain, and all that saturation that was just hanging out in the atmosphere got thrown up, and it just condensed and condensed and condensed until it just the bottom fell out and flash flooding. So that happens. Flash flooding,
Were
fun
you-
fact, is the most terrifying thing in the world to me.
of.
yeah, water.
I'm much, yeah, I'm much more scared of a flash flood than I am a tornado.
Yeah, they do tremendous, ridiculous. The ridiculous power of water is
Crazy.
crazy.
Wow. So we just briefly touched the equipment. So you mentioned that there is people that are going into the storm, right? Um
Hmm.
and what equipment do they need in order to stay safe in there?
Well, people that actually drive into tornadoes and collect data is people like Reed Timmer, like Jeff mentioned. And he has several specialized vehicles for that purpose. They're special built with skirts down each side that come all the way down to the ground. They don't let any air in up underneath it. Once they put the hydraulics down, when they decide they're going to intercept a tornado, they'll park, lower the hydraulics to where the skirts meet the ground. No air can get up underneath it. And they usually have pneumatic or hydraulic spikes that they can deploy into the ground, and that will anchor their vehicle into the ground. And then all the glass is I can't remember what it's called, but it's like a specialized plastic to where it doesn't shatter from hail, things like
Lexan?
that.
Is it
Yeah, Lexan,
Lexan?
that's what
Yeah,
it.
that's
Um, and then they have a number of things to collect data. They shoot their own little sounding rockets into the storm. Um, they, of course, have, mobile weather stations mounted on their vehicle. They, here lately, have been flying drones in and around tornadoes, collecting data. Let's see. I feel like there's a couple other things they do.
So how big? What's the size of a tornado? It must be huge inside. So when I look at this thing here again, then it's obviously circulating, it's round. So there is something there is in the middle. What how do I how how do I understand a tornado? Is there no wind and just in the center in the eye of that storm, and the storm is just spinning around, or how does that work?
Well, the picture, the thumbnail that you have there, that tornado is probably only maybe a few hundred yards wide. It's probably not as big as you think it is.
Mhm.
But they do get very large. They get up to, I think the record's 2.5 miles wide. Um, But the thing is, tornadoes are very weird. Like the wind field of that tornado is much wider than the actual condensation funnel. What you're seeing is the condensation funnel, which is or at like condensate a mixture of condensation and debris. You can see the debris shroud down at the bottom of it, which is when being thrown up from the surface of the earth and it's getting thrown up, you know, however many thousands of feet up into the atmosphere. Um, Tornadoes traditionally they don't really have an eye. Occasionally with
Oh,
very strong tornadoes you can get an eye, but it's very pinpoint.
okay.
Think of it more like a few hundred yards of just chaos, like a few hundred yards wide of just the whatever's on the surface of the earth getting taken and lifted up and thrown up into the atmosphere. And at some point, gravity bringing it back down. But it's probably, rotating around that central vortex several times.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. So hmm. Yeah.
the
I'm
the
just, yeah, go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
No, go ahead.
No,
No,
I'm sorry.
I was just, yeah, no, that's okay. I was just thinking, because when I look at, and it's rotating, so there must be in the middle of something that's rotating in the center. It, I, to me, it feels like that it must be very calm in that center. No?
There's reports of people that have been hit by tornadoes that say in the very center of it, it was very calm. But they're such small scale phenomena that it couldn't have lasted for very long. Um, because it's just such a violent, chaotic event
Okay.
to witness. Um, and part of the problem with, see, tornadoes have a life cycle. It's called tornado genesis. They'll get spun up, and then at some point, they'll get choked off and cut off by the rear flank downdraft. So you have typically storms moving northeast. You have air getting thrown up into the atmosphere and rotating around and coming back down. And on the north side of that storm, you have a rear flank downdraft, which is all the air that's getting thrown up into the atmosphere. It gets weighed down and gets thrown back down to the earth.
Hmm.
At some point, that current will wrap around the inflow and choke it off. So the tornado will essentially die. But as long as that storm is still moving into an area where the ingredients are good for severe thunderstorms, it will what we call cycle and put down a new tornado. So there's a lot to it.
Hmm.
It's a lot of learning.
Hmm.
I think that's what really got me into chasing is I was always kind of into weather, especially because of, discovering gem and geoengineering, that whole thing. But that night in December when we got all those tornadoes and then learning more about severe thunderstorms and how they work, the more I learn about weather, the more fascinated I get by
Hmm. Nice. Yeah. And do you make a living storm chasing, or is this just a hobby?
it. Yeah, no, God, no. There are people that do. I'm not one of those people.
Okay.
It's a it's an expense, not an income.
Gotcha.
Unfortunately, maybe one of these days, but
But not right now.
not right now. One if you get good footage, you can sell it to news stations and stuff like that. Um, it's such a difficult thing to do,
Mhm.
especially. Like if you don't have the capital to drive anywhere and do it, like where the weather's happening, that kind of thing. If you're only doing it local, like I do,
Mhm.
you're not definitely not going to make a living doing it. It's more of a hobby.
It's more like a hobby. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, we all need some hobbies for sure.
I said I've got too many of them. Trust me.
Well, but I think you must have at least a good camera and or do you just use your cell phone to film that or um is there a
I
special
have I have up until now. We just moved back in with my in-laws, and I found an old Canon Rebel XS camera and convinced my father-in-law to give it to me. And I'm waiting for the batteries and charger to come in because I'm so anxious to take it out and try it. But up
Right.
until now, yeah, I've just used my cell phone. I mean, cell phones have pretty great cameras on them nowadays. So,
Yeah, for that type of
but
photography, yes, yeah.
but like I really need something dedicated to, documenting and photography versus just using my phone because it's such a pain switching back from radar to trying to take pictures. And if I'm driving and trying to navigate, like trying to do all that on one device, I need something dedicated to just documenting
Right,
and, photographing or whatever. So,
right, yeah. Do you have a website where you put your footage on or your pictures and everything?
no, I mainly just use my Twitter. That's really the best way to get information out.
Mhm.
In regards to whether I have like I don't want to say a following, but like local people that know if there's severe weather in the area, they know to just go look at my Twitter.
Right.
Because like I'm gonna be posting anything there.
Hmm.
So that's mainly just what I use.
Right. So it's the social media more rather than a
Hmm. Yeah,
uh,
social media is taken precedence over everybody used to watch the local news,
mhm.
like whenever severe weather was happening. Now people go look at Twitter or Facebook. So
Yeah, yeah. X has really it's a huge platform or became a big giant platform, and everybody thinks that
and
it is not censored.
and there
Okay.
and there's a massive community, weather community on
Yeah,
X or Twitter or whatever you want to call it. There's
right.
tons and tons of people. Every time I think that I've seen them all, I find new profiles.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Cool. What else? What else do we need to know about storm chasing storms? Is there anything else you want to share with us?
Hmm. Um, as far as chasing goes, if you're interested in it enough, you'll figure it out on your own. When it comes to severe weather, just stay aware. Um, there's always the potential tornadoes can happen anywhere at any time. Canada gets their share. One of the prettiest tornadoes I've ever seen was in Canada, Didsbury. So they happen anywhere all the time. It's just a matter of awareness. I hate that people still perish in this day and age with all the technology and access to information that we have. That's what drives me crazy.
Mm, yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think that's what drove me to actually start chasing in the first place is
Mhm.
17 people in my town died. And I felt like I could have made a difference about that. So
Mm, mm-hmm. Yeah. So where did you see in Canada, where exactly did you see that big storm? Was that more in the prairies? So, as you know, I am in British Columbia, which is on
yeah, yeah. And I didn't personally see it. I've just seen video that, but it was Alberta, I
hmm
believe. I forget how the provinces are laid out, but right there above the northern plains, of the United States and like the Great Lakes, that area
Hmm.
get some significant tornadoes because I mean that's all up and down through there. That's Tornado Alley. Just depends on the time of year.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Alberta is, so I'm on the West Coast, so British Columbia is the Pacific coast, and then the next province to the east is Alberta. And then it starts going into the prairies like Saskatchewan and Manitoba. So that's actually very, very flat. So there is no mountains.
Yeah.
British Columbia and Alberta, we've got the big mountains. So there's the Rocky Mountains going through.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
this, and when you leave Alberta to the east, then it starts getting really flat. It's
Maybe it's Manitoba. I can't remember. Do you know where Disbury is?
I don't know. Dorothy, she might know. Maybe she can put that in the chat. She is, maybe she does know. Um,
I
but
can't remember. Yeah, I can't remember. But yeah, like over there and
It's in Alberta. Didsbury's in Alberta.
there you go.
Alberta. Yeah, okay.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, all through there, that because you get those polar air masses that reside up probably north of where you live, and they come diving down into the central United States due to the jet stream. The jet stream will trough,
Okay.
and then wherever that jet stream decides to eject, that's usually where you get severe weather. So during the early spring, it's like Central Plains, and then the later throughout the year it gets, the further north it goes. So then
Oh,
you start getting tornadoes in the Dakotas, Minnesota, southern Canada, that area.
okay. Okay. Yeah. Well, we do have some severe weather events sometimes really in Alberta, especially in Calgary. I'm pretty sure Dorothy can confirm that she's from BC. I I know. But in Calgary, because of Calgary is close, an hour and a half away, let's put it this way, east of the Rocky Mountains. And we do have these Chinook come in, right?
Hmm.
The wind falls right into Calgary, and then sometimes even in July they get snow. It certainly won't
Hmm.
last or it won't stay, but it's yeah, it can snow in Calgary. And sometimes, and it was actually very, very interesting. The it was last year when everybody all of a sudden paid so much attention to all these weather events. And then here in BC, so for where I'm located, like I say, Kelowna to Vancouver, I have to climb a mountain. I have to go through, it's called the Coquihalla. It's it's just a mountain. I have to go through that mountain, or actually across that mountain, and to drop into Vancouver. And sometimes it can happen that we get snow in September on the Coquihalla. It's nothing unusual, and then all of a sudden everybody was like, "Oh my gosh!" Because of all these hurricanes and all these tornadoes and whatever you want to call them. Everybody was like, "And now there is snow in BC." Okay, there is snow in BC.
I think people are looking for things at this point just because they know internally things aren't right, but they don't know where to place the blame. So they look for scapegoats. But the leeward side of the Rockies, that's actually, if I could go and chase anywhere, that's probably where it would be. It would probably be Colorado in late summer, um, because you get those polar diving air masses, and then the warm, moist air getting thrown up from the Gulf. And then coming off the leeward side of the Rockies, you get some really beautiful tornadoes out there that aren't doing any damage to personal property or anything. They're just out in the middle of a field. So,
Mhm.
but yeah, I think a lot of it comes down to people looking for a scapegoat. They know things aren't right. They know things aren't as they should be. So,
Right. Yeah. Well, we shouldn't underestimate nature, in my opinion.
Mm,
Nature is still
mm.
happening. Nature is still here. Um,
And she can be terrifying.
she can be terrifying, and I hope she's fighting back to all the pollution and all that stuff that,
That's for sure. Yeah.
yeah. But I personally believe nature always comes first. And yeah, she can be terrifying, but she is beautiful. Nature is beautiful.
Right. Hey, that's the thing about tornadoes. They're incredibly destructive and deadly, and they take lives and destroy property and everything. But God, they're beautiful. Like some of them are just absolutely gorgeous,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's the absolute maximum fury of nature at work. I guess
Yeah.
that's why I find them so fascinating.
Great. Good. Well, that's amazing. Well, that was something else. Here, there's information. Thank you so much, Justin. Is there anything else you would like to share with us? Is there
No,
anything
I'm
we
all
need to
good.
know? You good?
Thank you for having me. And yeah, like I said, just stay weather aware. And it's always happening. So it
It's
doesn't hurt to
always
be
happening.
aware of it.
That's right. It's always happening. And I try, and when I present to groups that are interested and to know and to learn more about geoengineering, I always keep telling them, nature is still happening. Weather, we can't stop weather from happening. It is what it is. Do they control weather? Can they control weather? I personally think they cannot. They can modify, they can influence
They
the
can
weather.
influence, yeah,
Agreed.
weather's much too broad to use the word control. They can influence and modify. I've always called it weather modification.
Correct.
And that maybe
Totally
that's
right.
just a habit from the old school conspiracy theorist days, but I've always just called it weather modification.
Hmm. That's right.
I
Jeff.
This
I
is
think
not
of
weather
them.
control.
I think of them as nibbling at the edges, like a cloud seeder. Conditions
Right.
have to be nearly perfect. The rain's got to already be on the way and almost raining before they even fly to where they do it. I mean, you're
Hmm.
you're you're taking a natural situation and trying to enhance it a little bit.
Right. You're not creating something out of nothing.
Correct.
Yeah.
Or taking something massive and having a drastic influence on it, like steering a hurricane.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It's beyond their control, but I think they like us to be afraid.
Mm.
Yeah. Put us
Afraid
in fear.
people are easy to steer.
That's right. It's always the fear thing.
And if you're distracted by other things, i.e., hurricane steering or fighting each other over racism, then you're not fighting the actual enemy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Agreed. Well, that was great. Well, Justin, then I'll let you get going to your family, to your new arrived
Huh.
baby. And
I'm sure my wife is just sitting there like, what is he doing?
yeah, I can see
Where is he at?
yeah. Yes, exactly. Okay. Well, then again, thank you so much. That was very interesting. It was a completely different thing for me, new. And I mean, Jeff taught me so much about the weather. And he actually really opened up my eyes again to really consider that there is weather and it's there and then we can't stop it from happening. It's always there. No
Yeah.
matter
She's
what.
gonna do what she wants to do, that's for sure.
That's right. Okay, well then thank
Thank
you
you, Justin.
again.
No problem. Thank you guys for having me on.
No
Thanks,
worries.
Bettina.
Okay, take good care. Thank you. Bye-bye. Hello, everyone. Yeah, this interview tonight was the last interview in 2025, and it is the last interview for a while. I have decided to take some time off, to take a break. I need some time to rest. Geoengineering Free Canada has been a great journey for me. We had wonderful, amazing guests. We had great people asking great questions. And I hope that we have also been able to deliver the truth, the right message to you, so that you can look up. And please do look up, but look up without fear. My name is Bettina Engler. I'm wishing you a wonderful Merry Christmas, a great time with your family and friends, and a happy, prosperous New Year 2026. I'm wishing you well, all the best, and I'll see you again. Thank you and goodbye.